It was on that train, shuffling toward Cincinnati, that she resolved to be on guard, always. She wanted to make certain that no man ever looked at her that way, that no midnight eyes or marbled flesh would ever accost her and turn her into jelly. For 2 days they rode, 2 days of watching sleet turn to rain, turn to purple sunsets, and one night knotted on the wooden seats, their heads on folded coats, trying not to hear the snoring soldiers. When they changed trains in Birmingham for the last leg of the trip, they discovered what luxury they had been in through Kentucky and Tennessee, where the rest stops had all had colored toilets. After Birmingham, there were none. Helene's face was drawn with the need to relieve herself, and so intense was her distress she finally brought herself to speak about her problem to a black woman with 4 children who had got on in Tuscaloosa. "Is there somewhere we can go to use the restroom?" The woman looked up at her and seemed not to understand. "Ma'am?" Her eyes fastened on the thick velvet collar, the fair skin, the high-toned voice. "The restroom," Helene repeated. Then in a whisper, "The toilet." The woman pointed out the window. "Oh, yes, yes, ma'am, yonder." Helene looked out the window, halfway expecting to see a comfort station in the distance. Instead, she saw green trees leaning over tangled grass. "Where?" "Yonder," the woman said. "Meridian. We be pulling in directly." Then she smiled sympathetically and asked, "Can you make it?" Helene nodded and went back to her seat, trying to think of other things, for the surest way to have an accident would be to remember her full bladder. At Meridian, the women got out with their children. While Helene looked about the tiny station house for a door that said colored women, the other women stalked off to a field of high grass on the far side of the track. Some white men were leaning on the railing in front of the station house. It was not only their tongues curling around toothpicks that kept Helene from asking information of them. She looked around for the other women and, seeing just the top of her head ragged in the grass, slowly realized where yonder was. All of them, the fat woman and her 4 children, 3 boys and a girl. Helene and her daughter squatted there in the 4 o'clock meridian sun. They did it again in Ellisville, again in Hattiesburg, and by the time they reached Slidell, not too far from Lake Pontchartrain, Helene could not only fold leaves as well as the fat woman, she never felt a stir as she passed the muddy eyes of the men who stood like wrecked Dorics under the station roofs of those towns. The lift in spirit that such an accomplishment produced in her quickly disappeared when the train finally pulled into New Orleans.